Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be taking a deep dive into all the latest events in the Boku no Hero story, including Ochaco single-handedly rescuing Deku's hero career and possibly his life. Deku finally surpassing All Might in one very important aspect. And I will be talking about how these new developments changed everything we thought we knew about the MHA manga. This was a more important chapter than many people realize, so let's get into it. If you enjoyed the Boku no Hero content on this channel and you want us to keep it going, you know what to do. Just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you're new to AnimeUproar or maybe watch our videos but you haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. A big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons who make videos like this one possible. I will talk more about Patreon at the end of the video, but for now, please be advised that this video will of course contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers. Please proceed with caution, you have been warned. We started off with a quick flashback to Ochaco's childhood. In the previous chapter, Ochaco jumped onto center stage, quite literally, and she addressed the angry anti-Deku protesters directly in an attempt to get them to accept Deku. In the flashback, we see that while most people loved seeing heroes fight crime and most people were amazed by the powers that the heroes demonstrated, adorable little Ochaco was more amazed by something else. Rather than the heroes themselves, Ochaco loved seeing how the actions of the heroes made other people feel. She loved seeing how happy people became when they saw a hero in action. She loved the fact that heroes were able to make other people feel good just by showing up and doing their job. As we know, Ochaco's parents always worked really hard, but they struggled financially, and as a result, they always had an exhausted expression on their face. But a hero showing up to save the day was something that could instantly change the look on their faces and on the faces of many other people. No matter what problems and worries all of these people might have had, heroes had the incredible power to brighten their mood and give them a spark of hope even in the worst of times. Ochaco initially decided to become a hero in order to help her parents financially and make their lives easier. And this has led to many memes about Ochaco just wanting money and about Stain coming after her if he ever finds out what her motivations for being a hero are. However, Ochaco didn't really become a hero for money. It's not that simple. For Ochaco, the money is just a means to an end, and the actual end goal is to make her parents happy. From this brief flashback, we can see that for Ochaco, heroism is not actually about money. It is about the power to make other people happy. Yes, she wants to help her parents financially because she believes that this will make them happier, but she also wants to make other people happy by being a hero. She wants to brighten people's day and give them hope in difficult times, and for Ochaco, that is exactly what heroism is about. What she wants to do now is convince this angry crowd that Deku is a true hero, someone who has sacrificed everything to give hope to the people of Japan. Yes, the current situation is disturbing and chaotic, but Deku and other heroes like him represent the final spark of hope. They are the light at the end of the tunnel for all of those scared and desperate people in Japan. Heroes like Deku shouldn't be rejected by the people. They should be embraced as their last and best hope for turning things around. As Ochaco speaks to the crowd using a megaphone, the people in the crowd finally start noticing just how beat up and exhausted Deku looks. That furry girl who was saved by Deku in chapter 310 is stunned to see that after he saved her, Deku just kept on fighting without taking a break for such a long time. Another person in the crowd is like, wait, you want the rest of us to end up looking like this guy? But Ochaco tells him that no, the ones who will shoulder all of the burden are the heroes. The heroes will do everything to protect the people. They will give their blood and sweat for the people. And the only thing that the heroes ask is for the people to give them some time, to give Deku some time. Deku is deeply moved by Ochaco's words and actions. With tears in his eyes, Deku calls out, "Uraraka-san," and in that emotional moment, I can't help but think, dude, just call her by her first name. What are you doing, Deku? What are you doing? Anyway, Ochaco then comes right out and tells the crowd the truth. She doesn't downplay the situation or sugarcoat anything. She says plainly that as of right now, the heroes cannot guarantee the people's safety. And in fact, the heroes are just as frightened as everyone else is. Everyone is in the same boat now, heroes and civilians alike. And because they're all in the same boat, they must work together to get out of this dire situation. That is the only way that they can succeed in their fight to one day restore order. Because of that, Ochaco calls on the people to cooperate with the heroes so that tomorrow they can all smile together. In that moment, Ochaco is distracted for just a second by the thought of Toga's crazy smile. This was probably just Ochaco remembering her previous conversation with Toga, although I'd like to think that this is foreshadowing that we will be seeing Toga again soon. She just kind of disappeared during that final showdown in Deku, and I know I might be looking too much into this, but I definitely want to see Toga do something epic. I mean, she hasn't even had the chance to avenge twice yet, so I'm sure that she's out there plotting something big. Ochaco then pleads with the crowd to give Deku some time to rest and recover. At the end of the day, Deku is just a normal high school kid, and yet he has shown an incredible amount of resolve and dedication when it comes to protecting others. He is still a high school kid, he has a lot to learn, but he has already sacrificed so much and he is willing to sacrifice even more if only the people would believe in him. If only they would let him stay here at UA, at least for now. We are then reminded of the very first chapter of MHA. The moment when Deku says that this is the story of how he became the greatest hero. We then see Deku dropping to his knees with tears streaming down his face. The people gathered there are kind of stunned by this, and it is clear that they are beginning to feel some compassion for Deku. That is when two people who were saved by Deku in the past, the furry girl and Kota, pushed their way through the crowd and towards Deku. As Kota and the furry girl run up to Deku to help him and embrace him, we see the following words. This is the story of how we all became the greatest heroes. And that is how this epic chapter ends. Wow, I actually loved that ending, especially those words on the final page. Now, this is of course a battle shonen series, and this chapter had literally no action in terms of fighting or anything like that. And yet, this was such an amazing and important chapter. Ochaco overcoming her shyness and standing up for Deku in front of everyone. Deku absolutely overcome with emotion. And then the people that Deku saved in the past coming to his aid and setting an example for the others. Deku's sacrifices and good deeds from the past are now bearing fruit. The people who know him and who got his help in the past have his back. And as a result, the angry crowd is beginning to see the truth about who this young hero really is. And of course, those words on the final page. This is the story of how we all became the greatest heroes. This is actually a massive development in the story. In a very important way, Deku just surpassed All Might. Back in the first chapter, when we first saw the words, "This is the story of how I became the greatest hero," Deku was still completely obsessed with All Might, and he wanted to be exactly like All Might. But now, Deku has finally realized that All Might had his faults, and the biggest one was his insistence on working alone and doing everything by himself. I spoke about this at length in my previous MHA video, and if you didn't watch that, then definitely check it out. But essentially, All Might had the best of intentions, and he wanted to do everything himself in order to protect others. But by doing this, All Might inadvertently sabotaged Deku from the start by setting an unrealistic standard for what a true hero should be. All Might liked doing as much as possible on his own, and he wanted to save everyone and solve every problem by himself, and this made him the symbol of peace for an entire nation. But no one man can do all of those things, at least not forever. Ultimately, All Might tried to do too much, he sustained a life-altering injury, and eventually this forced him to retire. After he retired, the people of Japan lost their symbol of peace, and the Hero Society eventually crumbled because it relied too much on one man. Once All Might was no longer capable of protecting the Hero Society, regular people quickly lost hope, the villains were emboldened, and the society crumbled. This latest arc showed us very clearly that Deku was going down the same path as All Might. He wanted to become the new symbol of peace by doing everything on his own and protecting everyone without any regard for his own well-being. While this is a brave and noble thing in theory, it also nearly got him killed. And again, I've said this many times before, if Deku ends up getting himself killed, then he literally can't help anyone. So clearly, doing what he was doing is not a good strategy, no matter how brave and bold it might seem. After being confronted by his classmates from 1A, Deku finally began to realize that he can't be All Might and he can't do everything on his own. And frankly, he shouldn't try to be like All Might. Deku has to learn to rely on his friends and on other heroes and hero students. Trying to become the next All Might wouldn't be good for anyone. It wouldn't be good for Deku because he would destroy his own body very quickly, and it wouldn't be good for the rest of society either because even if Deku became as great as All Might at his peak, eventually Deku would get older or he would get injured and he too would have to step down. And then what? Society would again eventually crumble because they put all their faith in one hero and now that hero is gone. And just as Deku's worldview has finally evolved, the entire narrative of the story has now evolved with him. This is no longer the story that it was at the beginning. This is no longer the story of how Deku became the greatest hero. Instead, this is now the story of how Deku and his friends all became the greatest heroes together. That is actually huge. It is a narrative game changer, and I for one am very happy to see this happening. So many times in the past, we've seen Deku carelessly neglecting his own well-being in order to help someone else. Even before he had a quirk, Deku was that type of person. We saw it in the very first chapter, and this was a huge part of his character. But now, 324 chapters in, Deku is finally beginning to understand that you can be heroic even when you work together with others. You can be a hero without taking ridiculous risks all the time because you're trying to do everything by yourself. I expect that from now on, the story will focus less on Deku and his powers individually, and more on Deku and the other heroes and hero students working together as a carefully assembled team. Like I said, I am really happy that the story is developing in this direction, and I just loved the emotion and the power of this seemingly actionless chapter. But let me know what you guys think. Did you like this chapter as much as I did, even though it didn't have any fighting? And do you agree with me that this could change the entire narrative of the story? But even more importantly, are Ochaco and Deku finally going to get a room? Don't worry, I know that this was not necessarily a romantic moment, just a great friendship moment, but you just know that the shippers are going to run with this, so I might as well make the joke. At any rate, don't forget to leave your feedback down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this Boku no Hero video and you want to see more in the future, just leave that like. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of subscribing, hitting the bell, and then selecting that option that says all. If you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a ton of our videos even if you are subscribed. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. I want to give a quick thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons who make videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma. He is an absolute mad lad and disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, Pate Hefa, Aljatal, Hinokami and Water, The Toasted Chi, The Spike, Dylan Isador, Spidey Life Tanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, and Monkey D. Quilly. Finally, thank you to all of our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, the Red-Haired Raven, Angel Cruz, Rathuin Deora, Very Gucci, Alicia Akhter, Bonnie Parks, Joanne Garcia, Ted No Ted, Fatboy Games, Corey McGowan, and Soul Ray Slice and Dice. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos, along with these legendary people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!